Each and every episode of the Manic Metal Show is brought to you by the Faction Radio. Download the app to your Apple or Android device for free and get involved with the best music from around the world. What more do you want, you fucking Muppets? Crank it loud, bang your head, and join the Faction today.
Fucking metal as fuck, dude.
Greetings, Blast Fiends. We've got another massive episode for you today on the Manic Metal Show. The Black Dahlia Murder are about to hit Australia on their Nightbringers tour, and they're bringing with them death metal legends Aborted. I've got both of them on the show today. Trevor and I talked all things Black Dahlia Murder, the new album. We talked a lot about the Blast Fiends, which is their fan club that has just pushed the Black Dahlia to a whole new level of achievement. We talked about the songwriting process, everything Black Dahlia related that you want to know. Then I got into it with Sven as well, all about the new record, Terrorvision. They're both stoked to hit Australia, and it was awesome to chat to them both. Both of these interviews were a lot of fun to do. Smack bang in the middle, we've got a track from Australian band Earthrot, killer, groovy, death and roll shit. They're about to tour the country with Dimmu Borgir, and they're going to be on the podcast soon as well. So enjoy this episode of the Manic Metal Show with the Black Dahlia Murder and fucking Aborted. Blast Fiends rejoice. How you doing, Trevor?
Good, man. Just sitting at home, gearing up to come storm the shores over there.
Good shit. Well, we haven't been invaded since white people invaded the country, so we're about due for some getting fucked up, I think. So it's been just under a year since the release of your latest album, Nightbringers, and the album has been praised pretty much universally. And I know you guys love coming down to Australia. You must be pretty pumped to be able to head back down and bust these tunes out to the Aussies for the first time.
Yeah, for sure, man. I mean, it's been a really big album cycle for us. There's been a lot of praise for the new record, so we're going to be playing a lot of new stuff. But also a lot of old stuff. I mean, we're playing for like an hour and 20 minutes these days, so you can cram a lot of 3-minute songs in there, man.
Yeah, true. One thing I did want to ask you about is the Blast Fiends. And a lot of bands have fan clubs, dedicated Facebook groups for fans and all that sort of shit. But the Black Dahlia Murder fans take it to a whole new level with the Blast Fiends. How did that all come about?
Well, it started independently from the band. It was just something I noticed after a while. I was like, all right, there's this like Blast Fiends group. It had about 500 kids in it. And, you know, they were just a fan page. And I became friends with Kyle and Jarrell, who to me are really the heads of the thing. And I found them because they had like humongous merch collections, you know, and Kyle had an Instagram just dedicated to all of his Black Dahlia Murder shirts. So I first became friends with those guys, and then I started to help them advertise it on the Facebook, which just totally increased the numbers by a lot. And then Kareem Peter, who is our former tour manager that works at our merch company, Indie Merch, he really took the reins of it, and he's the one, man. He makes it happen for us. The rest of us were too lazy and too much of a stoners to make it happen ourselves. But
I've been a member of the Fiends for a year or so now, and I came across it organically. And you've just got this bunch of absolutely rabid fans of the band, to the point that they design their own chapter patches for their state or country. People are trading rare releases with each other. I think it's the perfect example. It sounds so wanky to say, but it's the perfect example of what people are talking about when they say shit like online community. It really is a community.
No, that's cool, man. People are really taking to it. You know, there's a lot of great people I've met through it personally. People are taking it to the next level, dude. We've had Kyle and Jarrell follow us on a bunch of shows, and now we're starting to see other hardcore Blast Fiends kind of doing the same thing, making a pilgrimage with us. And, it's like some kind of Grateful Dead shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, true. Probably the same amount of drugs as Grateful Dead too, to be honest.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, probably the same amount of weed specifically. But it's been amazing. You know what I mean? Like they've gone so hard for us, and really, I think they helped make the numbers for Nightbringers what they were. You know what I mean? There was they made it like their personal mission, the Blast Fiends, to see us high on the charts, and dudes were buying multiple copies and just going crazy and being like on our unofficial street team. You know, it's just I don't know. It's really flattering. It's amazing that people want to put so much energy into helping us out, you know?
Well, you guys actually broke the record for the most direct-to-consumer sales for any Metal Blade artist. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's awesome. And I mean, and the fan club is a huge part of that, man. I mean, it's the ideal fan club, dude. People, they're just ravenous for this thing, man. It's awesome.
I think a lot of that comes down to the way it began. It just began from fans saying, hey, let's create a page to show our love for a band that we all enjoy. And there's no membership fee. You guys don't ask anything of the fans to be a part of it. And I think by it coming about that way, the fans feel appreciated. They know that all they need to do to be a part of it is be a fan of the band. And in return, they're super supportive of the band. I mean, it's the best way to do it. It's not some Patreon bullshit where they've got to pay $30 a month and all that sort of crap.
Right. Yeah, it's cool, man. It's definitely cool. It reminds me of like something Metallica would have done. You know what I mean? It's and we're very lucky to have so many minds coming together. The admins in the group are just awesome to us. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely, man. So you're now 8 albums into your career. What's the biggest change creatively when writing music now compared to back in 2003 with Unhallowed and then Nightbringers in 2017? I'm guessing that Pro Tools and Cubase and all of that stuff makes it a lot easier to get the ball rolling logistically these days.
Yeah, especially since we're kind of fragmented in where we live. You know, I live on the East Coast now. We have 3 guys here on the East Coast and then 2 guys in Michigan. Yeah, there's lots of emails and lots of Pro Tools files being traded and stuff like that. I think we're the same band, but wiser. You know what I mean? I feel like we're sticking to the same formula or trying to, you know, to be melodic and brutal at the same time, but also, you know, be a catchy band. You know what I mean? Has been something. But I think that we've become better songwriters over the years and learned like the intricacies of writing a more dynamic song, which I think has been important. And something that we've realized more in these last few records. I don't know, man. It's always been that line of like doing stuff that we want to do for fun, you know, which a lot of it includes playing more technical music with each album and then having it come across in a catchy way. You know what I mean? So we're always kind of straddling those two worlds there.
Yeah, that's a very good point that you made. And I think that really is what makes or breaks a great band, in my opinion. Anyway, I do love watching bands that just shred their balls off. But at the same time, you guys have always had the knack for creating hooks in music that is fucking heavy.
Right. You know, the guitars do the singing for the band in that way. You know, I think that's like the real catchy part that really grabs people's ears. So I can definitely agree.
Early on in your career, you guys sort of got lumped into the metalcore category, and I've never understood it. And like any genre, there's a bunch of bands within the genre that are good, but thousands more that suck dick. I've been a fan of the Black Dahlia since the Unhallowed days, and to my ears, you've always been a melodic death metal band. And I guess I understand that angle being pushed from a marketing perspective, but all it really seemed to come down to is that you guys were young and had short hair. Is that really all it was?
Pretty much, yeah. I think it really hit full stride with the second record because we were on Ozfest, and that broke us into a lot of press, you know what I mean, for the band. And we were... you know, coming around the same time as Unearth and As the Lay Dying. So we kind of got lumped in with those guys. And then with the rise of deathcore's popularity, you know, then we had people throwing us into that category, you know. But yeah, I've always looked at it the same as you, as a melodic death metal band. And I used to be kind of defensive about the genres and stuff like that people call us. But now I just realize that it's given this band so much life, you know what I mean? Like people from all walks of the underground like this band. And when I look out in the crowd, I see all different kinds of people. You know, you got your long-haired, leather-clad metal dudes. You've got hardcore kids, you know, dudes that like metalcore, deathcore, and kind of anybody in between. You know what I mean? So ultimately, I'm thankful for how it's played out. But there's always been a genre fight following every time we appear online or whatever. It's always been that way for us.
It's a good problem to have, really. And all it does is expand your audience. You can't really complain about that, I guess.
No. Ultimately, yeah, I think that's the reason that you know, we've been successful is like us looking kind of strange and not fitting perfectly into a certain mold has allowed us to reach a lot of different people. And I've been thankful for how it's played out.
One of my good mates is Dicey from Soundworks.
Excellent.
Yeah, he's a horrible human being. Shout out to Dicey. One of the things he told me when I first met him years ago, he was saying, when you guys came, I think it was the first tour, he said when you saw his metal collection, you just lost your mind because you've got a bit of a reputation as a metal aficionado. And he said you were just like, holy fuck, you know, looking at all these really rare releases, a lot of Australian shit that you may not have been able to get back then. Are you still as crazy about it as you were then, you know, trying to find new shit and find old rare shit and all that sort of stuff?
Yeah, man, definitely. I'm still, always on the hunt for old rare stuff. I got like a million save searches at all times on Discogs and eBay. But I'm also, combing the underground for new stuff all the time. Trying to keep my finger to the pulse, watching all the different labels across the world. Really, metal's like it's everything to me. So it's easy for me to kind of put the blinders onto the rest of the world and focus on what I like, which is death metal and the underground. And people are like, how do you stay so up on this shit, man? It's just, well, I just kind of have my blinders on to the rest of the world. You know what I mean? If
you read the news, all that does is make you depressed. So I think you're better off just listening to death metal.
Yeah, pretty much, man. And they can be equally as gory.
Well, I think the news is probably worse, to be honest. At least metal's a bit satirical in nature.
Yeah, for sure.
I was speaking to Dave Ellefson last week about the new Metal Allegiance album, and you feature as a guest vocalist on the opening track titled Accuser. How was it being a part of that project?
Oh, it's awesome, man. It's still like coming to a head right now because tomorrow I will go rehearse with them, and then the next day we'll play the release show, and I'll play the song with them. It's been amazing. I mean, I'm like the smallest name they've ever dealt with, I think, and it's a huge opportunity for me to hopefully bring Black Dahlia Murder to more people that haven't heard us yet or whatever. And a huge honor to be among so many like metal gods. Dave Ellefson is like my absolute hero. Megadeth is my first love in metal. It's a huge compliment, man. It's amazing. I'm just really excited for that to come out. Really excited for the Accuser to get out in people's ears, man. I sing a bit differently on that song than I have on any of the Dahlia records. It's a bit more towards the thrash metal vocal a bit. I tried to like channel old Slayer, put a lot of attitude into it. But overall, man, I'm just kind of pinching myself about this situation. We're talking about Alex Skolnick here, Mike Portnoy, Dave Ellefson, Mark from Death Angel, just so many. And then not to mention all the great guests that have been through the band, So it's a huge compliment, dude. It's very exciting.
It's almost like one of the European metal festivals that became a band.
Yeah, for sure. And in that way, it's a huge honor, man, because it's only like really established, really awesome players. And so for them to look at me as some kind of a peer or, worthy of coming aboard for that song and choosing it to be the opening song blew my mind too. I didn't expect that. So I'm just I'm very happy they like what I did. And I'm super thrilled and honored.
I love the fact, too, that these days a label will just trust a band to go with people such as yourself, whereas, say it was 2002, some label head in a suit would have tried to put Fred Durst on a song because that would sell or some shit, It just seems like metal's allowed to be what it is these days.
For sure. There's a lot of greats in the band. There's going to be a lot of eyes on the Metal Allegiance, obviously. And, I'm trying to represent the underground with what I'm doing with them. You know what I mean? I always think that way in what I do.
Perfect, man. On a personal note, I actually got to perform stand-up comedy at the Perth show of your last tour, and I believe that was the first time you've ever had comedians on one of your lineups. Is that right?
Yeah, man, that was really cool.
I had a great time.
Never done anything like that. I think there's a definite crossover there. You know what I mean? There's a lot of morbid comedians. You know what I mean? And a lot of metalhead comedians. So. And I think that metal itself is tongue-in-cheek.
Yeah, definitely. And you know that somebody wearing a dying fetus shirt isn't going to get upset about a joke.
Right. The more dead baby jokes, the better. You know what I mean?
The highlight of the night for me was having a shit-faced Sean Lacan from Putrid Pile bailing me up and telling me how much he loved my song about being the only one that wasn't molested in the Scouts. That's a happy memory for me.
Oh, dude, Sean is a card, man. That was a really fun tour having him around with us.
He is hilarious. And talk about, if anyone listening hasn't heard Putrid Pile, if you want to talk underground and killer underground shit, holy shit. I always say, are they good? But it's just him. He's amazing. Yeah.
So a one-man killing machine, a brutal death metal freakazoid from the Midwest.
Yep. Putrid Pile, shout out to Sean. Hey man, the tour kicks off on September 21st in Perth, and then it runs for 8 straight days. The next day you're playing the New Dead Metal Fest in Adelaide, then going on to Melbourne, Hobart, Newcastle, Canberra, Sydney and Brisbane. It's going to be a killer show. You're playing with Aborted and Zeolite, Is there anything else you'd like to say to the Aussie Blast Fiends ahead of the tour, man?
Get ready to rage. Bring your mouth guard. Bring me some pies. Yeah, dude, bring me some pies. That's what I really want to say.
You're a fan of Aussie pies?
I'm down. I'm so down with the pies.
I could eat them every day for the rest of my life. I'd be as fat as fuck, but I'd be happy.
Yeah, I'm going to go on a pie bender while I'm out there for sure.
That's awesome, man. Hey, look, thanks so much for taking the time to talk to the faction, Trevor. I really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me, dude. Thanks for the kind words, and hopefully we can have a beer out there.
Yeah, I'll see you there for sure, man. Today's guest is Sven, lead vocalist for Belgium's death metal legends Aborted, who are set to release their 10th full-length album Terrorvision on September 21st via Century Media Records. How are you, Sven? How you doing?
Not bad, not bad. You know, just waking up and having my first coffee, so things could be worse.
Good to hear, man. So, the album's called Terrorvision, and it's another slab of what Aborted do best, brutal, technical, groovy death metal. How are you guys feeling that the album's complete and you're ready to unleash it on the fans?
We're very excited to see what people think, you know. We put a lot of work into this one. A lot of blood, sweat, and tears and sperm and, you know, whatever other liquids we can spew out. So we're very excited to get it out there and play some of that good old rock and roll for the kids out there.
Good shit. It's been a couple of years since we've seen you guys in Australia, and now you're headed back in September for a massive tour, 8 shows, and it's a killer lineup, the Black Dahlia Murder, Aborted, and Zeolite. This tour is going to be insane.
Yeah, it should be a good time. I mean, we haven't toured with Black Dahlia in a little while, so it'll be great to see those guys again. And we haven't been in Australia for, I think, 4 years, so we're very excited to be back. And on top of that, Jason from Psycroptic's got a dinner date with me, so I'm very, very excited.
Well, that's. I hope that's a very sensual affair. That sounds lovely.
Oh, it is. It is. I just hope he took a shower.
Yeah, well, I don't know if we can guarantee that, but at least he'll turn up. That's something.
Yeah.
Well, something good too. I mean, I'm based in Perth, and we miss out on a lot of international tours. And not only are you going to be coming here on this tour, But the Perth show is the first show of the tour, and it's actually the release date of your album, September 21st. So we get to celebrate that with you guys with a live show. That's fucking sick.
Yeah, it makes up for 10 years not going there, right?
Yeah.
Perth has actually been since 2008, so
Yeah.
I'm sad we couldn't make it out there last time. So it'll be really cool to get out there and see some people we haven't in a long time, and rock out with our cocks out and all that shit.
That's just what we want. We need more dicks on the dance floor.
Oh, yeah.
So Aborted have always had really good production values with each album, but I feel like Strychnine 213 was a huge leap forward, and since then, the production value with each release is just getting better and better. I mean, the new album sounds killer. Who did you record with this time around?
The same guy as we did since Termination Redux. So we did Retrogore, Termination Redux, and Bathos EP with him. It's a studio from Germany called Cola Color. He's also known from doing bands like Benighted, Powerwolf. He also did Cytotoxin. He does a lot of more extreme music. So he's got a very organic sound for everything being that fast. For our kind of music, it's important to still sort of sound natural, I think, and still be able to discern all the details because it goes at very fast paces at times. So I think Cola does a very good job at, making it heavy, but still discernible. You can hear everything that's going on, which for us is quite important because there's a lot of nuances and details in there and that would get lost otherwise. So yeah, that plus he's very passionate. He's very involved with his projects too, so he also has input on the songs, and he's a great guy to work with.
The technicality in your music, you need that clarity to ring through so that you're able to, I guess, accurately communicate the music you've created. When it comes to writing that music, how does that process work? I mean, are you a band that brings sort of semi-complete ideas into the rehearsal space, or does it all come together there? I mean, how does a typical song come together for Aborted?
All right. First of all, I think I don't even remember what a rehearsal room looks like because we haven't done that in years.
Okay.
Seriously.
Yeah.
We all live in different countries, so we are unable to rehearse, which is interesting at times, especially when you play new songs and you haven't been able to practice them. But everybody is very disciplined at their instrument and at, being prepared. Usually when we do tours, we meet up a little bit before to be able to practice. But as far as writing goes, we don't, like, for example, for Terrorvision, we haven't even played any of the songs together as band ever. So everybody in the band knows how Cubase works. So basically what we've done with this record is we did pre-productions of everything. Ken recorded drums at home. We recorded everything, including the vocals. We worked on the samples, and then we just, through internet had rounds of feedback on maybe we should change this, maybe we should do that, which is a very different but also effective way of working, I think, because you immediately have a way of hearing how it could possibly turn out.
It's made it so much easier for bands like yourselves with members spread all over the globe to work, whereas 15 years ago that would have been impossible.
Exactly.
But I always find it very impressive how bands manage to create such a cohesive album when you haven't even been in the room together creating it. It's just kind of baffling to get the vibe that you've all just created this together when in actual fact you've had to send it backwards and forwards and you weren't even there with each other doing it. It's really impressive.
Thank you, man. Yeah, I mean, it definitely, it takes the right people to work together and be open-minded because not everybody is willing to adjust their songs or to, incorporate feedback. But in the end, it's a group effort and there's no room for egos.
Yeah, 100%. With your lyrics, I'm a comedian in Australia, and something that's really creeping in over here in both music and comedy is this insane level of political correctness.
Oh, God.
I know. Your lyrics have always been a huge fuck you to all of that bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
What's it like with that sort of crap in Belgium these days? Do you get any reaction to your lyrics at all by the super PC wankers, or not really?
Oh, no. Europe people don't give a fuck, really. It's interesting you asked that because we did this Devastation on the Nation tour in the States, and we were supposed to have like an aborted burger at Gorilla Mall in LA. And last minute they pulled out because they were afraid of getting flack from customers who were too PC, and an aborted burger is not okay. So I thought that was absolutely ridiculous. But at the same time, yeah, I know, right? At the same time, the first couple of days of the tour, I was watching my mouth on stage, let's say. And I was talking to the guys. I'm like, I don't know, man. I don't feel like these shows are like what we should be doing, or I don't know how to talk to the crowd here in the States because there's all that PC bullshit going on. And our drummer just said like, well, I think everybody at this point, that comes to the shows knows who Aborted is and knows the kind of bullshit you say. So I wouldn't really bother about it too much. So I was like, all right, fuck it. And I went full fucking retard for the rest of the tour, and it was way better. And honestly, it's just like comedy, man. Because in a way, it's very abrasive, brutal music, but it's also with a sense of humor. And obviously, I don't have body parts in my fridge.
100%.
I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's all done with a certain, degree of humor. I talk a lot of shit live, none of it to be taken serious, unless, of course, it's something serious that I'm saying. But it baffles me what a bunch of crybabies we were becoming, and how even, some sites would pick up on something someone says on their private Facebook page, or, well, let's define private, whatever, unrelated to the band. It gets picked up, a tour gets canceled, and your income gets fucked with, which I think is absolutely hypocritical and fucked up, because if everybody on the planet ever would get their income taken from them when they say stupid shit on the internet, we would be in a big problem.
Yeah, man, 100%. And it's just insane to me because we can all go and watch Halloween or one of the Saw movies, and nobody assumes that you want to hack people to death with chainsaws. But if there's a song about it, there's something wrong with you. I've never understood that. You can actually watch people get tortured in a film, but if there's a song with like Cannibal Corpse or any of your songs or Black Dahlia with a dark theme in it, you're obviously fucked in the head if you want to listen to that. I've never got that.
Yeah. What I don't get personally is, are people fucking stupid? Because the psychos don't look like psychos. You're serial killers. It's not the metalhead around the street.
No. John Wayne Gacy was doing kids' parties.
Yeah. There we go. Who's really messed up is you're not going to know.
Yeah.
Because they don't want to get caught.
Oh, man. Look, I'm really excited to have you guys coming back down to Australia. The new album's called Terrorvision. And as we said, it's coming out September 21st. You've got 8 shows in a row going to, where are we headed to? Perth, Adelaide, Melbourne, Hobart, Newcastle, Canberra, Sydney, and Brisbane. It's a huge tour. Is there anything you'd like to say before you head off to the Aussie fans ahead of the release and your tour?
Well, come check out the shows. Don't get offended. Or if you do, I don't give a fuck. There will be a lot of profanities, bullshit, bad jokes, and brutal death metal.
Thank you. That's what I wish everyone would say that.
Yeah.
Perfect. I don't think there's any better way to end it, Sven. That's perfect. Get involved. Support the new album by Aborted called Terrorvision and get yourself along to a show. And if you get upset by anything Sven says, go fuck yourself.
Yeah, don't be a shit cunt.
Perfect. You learnt that in Australia. There's nowhere else you could have learnt that.
We toured with Disentomb, but I heard it like 20 times a night, so yeah.
Oh, there you go.
Suck shit! Heavy metal rules!